I was sitting in my home watching the newscast, and the Blame Israel First media was castigating Israel for bombing the nuclear reactor. And I told Diana, my wife, I said, the Jewish people have done the world a favor. They need to be complimented and not criticized. And I said, what we need to do is gather all the pastors in San Antonio and have a night to honor Israel. And people played around with different names. I said, no, it's a night to honor Israel, to express our appreciation for the contributions that the Jewish people have made to Christianity and the contributions the Jewish people have made to freedom and to America. And I started writing on my legal pad, which is something I do when I get an idea for a sermon or a book, and I'd start writing down the ideas. And she said, Donna said, don't you think you should go talk to the Jewish people about this just before you start announcing it? So I said, all right. So I went to the Jewish Federation. You know, I was so green, I didn't even know there was a Jewish Federation, because nothing like that exists in the Christian world. And if you're not on the Jewish Federation book, you're not in the book of life. You're just, that's it. So I went and I told them, and I would like to see someone about having a night to honor Israel. And he looked at me like I had a contagious disease. He said, you what? I said, I'd like to have a night to honor Israel. He said, well, what are you going to do? And I explained it. And he said, as a rabbi said, we're going to have a meeting about that. And so they had a meeting and another meeting and a third meeting that lasted late into the evening. And that's when Rabbi stood up. And after all of this debate and discussion, and he said, look, maybe this man really means what he's saying. Maybe he's a friend. So we had a press conference, and we released it to the media. Within an hour of the newspapers hitting the stand, we started getting death threats at the church, telling my secretary that they were going to shoot me before Friday, that I would never live to see a night to honor Israel. They did drive by my home and shoot out the windows to my car.
All because you wanted to have a night to honor Israel.
That's it.
That's
exactly
it.
Right.
Because you were extending a hand of friendship to the Jewish people.
Yes. So when that happened, I was experiencing something that I didn't know existed in the world. Anti-Semitism was a word to me. Now I saw the ugly face of anti-Semitism functioning in my city in America. And so as we continued, the momentum built. We all went down to the auditorium downtown, the Lila Cockrell Auditorium. The building was packed, and I will tell you, there was enough tension in that room to give a brass doorknob a migraine headache. I mean, it was there. And our choir of 150 voices started singing, and there was a divine anointing that came over that place. We had a spectacular night.
And Rabbi, you were in the building.
Yes,
sure.
Absolutely. And we took up an offering for the Jewish people, for one of the hospitals in Israel. We gave it to them, and two of the most socially recognized women in our city, Jewish women, got up, and as they received that gift, just wept like children. It was prolonged, and I didn't know whether to interrupt it or stop it or let it go, but I noticed that people were weeping all over the building. And I just had a prayer. I said, Lord, what should I do here? And I felt the Lord say this to me: the Jewish people are seeing the love of God given to them from Christians, something they've never seen before. Just let them process it. And when the ladies got through, I introduced the rabbi to do the benediction. I stepped to the stage right. As he was praying, the security guy came to me and said, there's a bomb threat on this building. It's supposed to blow up in 5 minutes. I said, are you sure? He said, absolutely, I'm sure. We've got it from the police, and we've gotten it from the newspaper. And the rabbi I prayed a brief prayer, thank God, and I went to the podium and I said, I hate to end this wonderful night on a negative note, but this building is under a bomb threat and it's supposed to go off in just a couple of minutes. I will tell you, the Christians ran from that building like their shirts were on fire. And the Jewish people just kind of flipped their hands as if to say, we're used to this. They'd had that before.
Sadly.
And right there, history was hanging in the balance. I fully intended to do a night to honor Israel one time. But when they started shoving me around and threatening the Jewish people and threatening me for helping the Jewish people, that was the bridge too far. I told Diana, I said, we're going to do this every year until these gun-toting rednecks get used to this. And we just kept doing it, and it got bigger. We put it on television. It spread to other cities. It grew. It flourished. And then in 2006, when Ahmadinejad started talking about Israel being a one-bomb nation,
The former Iranian president.
they were going to be able to do in 6 minutes what it took Hitler 6 years to do. In other words, exterminate the Jewish people. I told Diana, I said, we need to form a national grassroots organization so forceful that it can impact the direction America responds to Israel. And I thought about that, and I crossed the bridge in January, and then in February I called 5 of the leading pastors in America, and I said, what do you think about this? And all of them said, this is going to be a hard road, but it's the right road.
This is February 2006.
February in 2006.
13 years ago.
I called 400 of America's leading evangelicals to Cornerstone Church. And in that day, Rabbi was there. He did the invocation. And I asked them, when I explained what I wanted to do, how many of you will support this? All 400 of them at one time lifted their hands. And I will tell you, these were the most powerful pastors in America. They were the owners of radio, television networks, of publishing companies, presidents of universities. These were the leaders of the leaders. And they said, we're in. And I want to tell you, heaven came down and kissed the earth, and Christians United for Israel was born.